I grew up in a conservative community, and the values that I was raised on really don't reflect the current administration. You know, the Republicans I grew up with were smart with money, they were loving of everyone, and respectful of others. None of these traits define Trump, and that's why I won't be voting for him. I think he's trying to destroy the Republican Party. You know, I understand why some people voted for Trump in 2016. They wanted to try something different. But he inherited a recovering economy only to cause it to tank. You know, he pushed through a tax cut, which didn't help me at all, actually. And now millions of Americans are out of a job. But he's too occupied trying to impress foreign dictators and get reelected to notice. This is a man who's willing to sell out the interests of Americans for his own reelection. As far as I know, he has no actual plan for what our country is going to do in the next 4 years, and he's just making it up as he goes along. We need a leader, but where is that leader? You know, Trump's knowledge is about the equivalent of a fifth grader, and, you know, he's running this country's economy like all of his failed businesses. We all gave him the chance, and he turned this great country into the laughingstock of the world. You know, I hear it from my friends overseas all the time that America's a joke. I grew up respecting both sides. I do not like this division that Trump has sowed between us. He's divided the country with hate by attacking those who don't agree with him in the least. And his hostile attitude includes comparing Democrats to terrorists and tweeting conspiracy theories. And he never takes the blame or admits fault for anything. That's not what a true leader does. I thought it couldn't get any worse after he called members of the KKK very fine people, but I was wrong. Then I saw children locked in cages at the border, and then I saw Trump ignored the concentration camps in China in order to strike like a pretty bad trade deal. And now I'm finding out about this Russia news that he ignored the fact that Russia had bounties out on American soldiers. And this was all before the pandemic. His asinine and delayed response to the coronavirus cost Americans their lives, their jobs. I couldn't believe that he actually proposed injecting disinfectant as a way to cure the disease. It's just so unbelievably stupid. You know, he pushed to open businesses before it was safe, so he could make it look like he saved the economy, but all that did was cause more cases to rise. But he continues to deny that. We've lost at least a year of our lives because of his just lackluster response. And I still don't understand why he turned COVID-19 into a political issue and makes jokes about it. You know, he was more upset by the fact that he had a small rally turnout than over the deaths of 126,000 Americans. You know, our nation's really hurting right now, not only because of the virus, but also because of the abuse of power from corrupt police officers and people in office. And I think in this moment, we needed a unifying and compassionate leader. But Trump's response to the virus and the protests was just vilifying people who don't agree with him. You know, I saw he had peaceful protesters beaten and tear gassed, all for some weird photo op in front of a church. And that personally offended me as a Christian. You know, he exploited my Christian faith just to try to pander to religious individuals. You know, Trump finds issues that people care about, and he exploits them for his own personal gain. What's worse, though, are I think the elected officials who still support him and don't speak up when he uses his racist and hateful rhetoric. You know, he said some very racist and sexist things, and that's unexcusable no matter what side of the aisle you're on. And I cannot support that. You know, he makes Republicans look bad, And it's going to take a long time before anybody takes them seriously again, all because of this. He doesn't represent true conservative values, and things are only going to get worse if he's elected for 4 more years. We need a leader who listens, who hasn't been involved in scandal after scandal, who doesn't attack his own people, and who can bring the nation together rather than driving a wedge between us. We need a leader who's smart and experienced, someone who can boost the economy, and who doesn't embarrass this country day after day. So that's why I'll be voting for Joe Biden, who spent his life in public service and cares about Americans. I've seen some true compassion come through from him recently, and it's clear he puts America first. Our nation, like I said, is really hurting, but he's the one who's listening. He cares about the American people, even if he disagrees with them. And that's what a politician should do. So if anyone out there is still on the fence about who they're going to vote for, please contact me. I'll be happy to explain why Biden's a much better candidate. We found our leader, and it's not Trump. It's Biden.